I'm often asked about the difficulties of Bible translation and why I spend so much time translating. Well, surprisingly, the challenge is not so much the fact that the Bible is written in Hebrew, Aramaic, and Greek. Sure, languages are a challenge, and there are many things we still don't know about these three ancient languages. But language is not the greatest challenge. Rather, our greatest challenge is the fact that we are all different. Translation committees are like giant Bible studies. I'm in a closed room for a week with 14 other biblical scholars who have spent most of their lives focused on one area of the biblical text. Some are language experts, others know individual books of the Bible really well, and while others know background information. It's a joy to learn, while at the same time hopefully contributing where I can. But one of our collective greatest strengths, which is also our greatest challenge, is our diversity. We all hear things differently. Members on the Committee for Bible Translation, the CBT, are divided by age, gender, and geographical constraints. As someone once said, Brits and Americans are truly divided by a common language. But a particular translation that is crystal clear to me is confusing to someone else. We hear things differently. But when the CBT has worked through a passage and we've come to a consensus, then piece by piece, how we express the meaning of a verse is becoming clearer and clearer to all of us, and that's why we do this. I'll never forget the discussion of the Greek word diakonos. Is Phoebe a servant or a deacon in her church? Reference in Romans 16:1. Well, the word deacon has a significantly different meaning in the northern part of the U.S. than in the south. In the north, a deacon is someone who has a regular ministry in the church. In the south, the deacons historically have run the church as the governing authority. So which role did Phoebe play? Was she a servant or the boss? Well, in recent years, debates over the issue of gender translation also have made the translation process challenging. Do you hear the word man or he as referring to a male or to people regardless of gender? Well, for many people, man and he only mean male and therefore won't read the Bible. We may not like that, but that's not the issue. The issue is, what did the biblical writers mean when they said anthropos or adelphos? Did they mean men only, brothers only, or did they mean all people? When Jesus says that we're to go to our adelphos who has sinned against us, does that mean go to the men or to the people who have hurt us? Well, it's an important issue, and if we want to be true to the meaning of the biblical writers, we have to ask what English readers understand by the terms men and he. And the point is, we all hear words differently. And by the way, no Bible translation is gender neutral. They all have God as Father, Jesus as Son, and us as brothers and sisters. I should also mention that the term gender accurate means that we refer to men as men, women as women, and men and women in a way that includes both genders, using such terms as brothers and sisters or they. Fortunately, we have the data from the Collins Bible Dictionary that shows how English refers to all people regardless of gender. I'll never forget the time when I walked into my daughter's room when she was 8 years old. Kirsten had photocopied a page from her Bible, crossed out the word he and wrote in she, and then pinned it to her bulletin board in order to memorize it. After complimenting her on her desire to memorize the Bible, I asked why she made the change. She just responded, well, the Bible's for me too, isn't it, Dad? Not just Tyler and Hayden. With no outside influence, she understood he as male, referring to her two brothers, and she thought it wouldn't apply to her unless it said she. As we try to make the gender language as accurate as possible, it is rewarding to see more people willing to read the Bible and understand that its message is for all people, men and women, boys and girls. Other times in translation work, the challenge is our lack of understanding of ancient culture. A few years ago, we were working with the phrase wine and strong drink. A Nazirite took a vow to not drink either. And the problem is that most of us don't know what a strong drink actually is, other than it probably includes alcohol. I learned that the Hebrew word refers to beer. A Nazirite could not drink wine or beer. Well, so what about spirits like whiskey? I asked Kirsten, now 25 years old, how she would understand the phrase wine and beer. She responded that it meant the Nazirite could not drink any alcohol. Well, what about whiskey? I asked. Dad, she responded. Spirits weren't invented until the 1st century AD. I still am not sure how a PhD in art history would know that, but she did. Nazirites were not allowed to drink any alcohol, and in their time, that meant no wine or beer. Yes, translation can be difficult. Our diversity and lack of knowledge can be a real hindrance. But Bible translation is a wonderful Bible study where we meet challenges and help the Bible come alive to more people than ever before. I am thankful that English has become the lingua franca of the world, the universal language, and that the NIV can be read and understood by more people across the globe than ever before. Those are the challenges, but also the rewards of Bible translation.